It said, "You're alive!" exclamation point. I never noticed that before. V8. I know it's better to eat actual vegetables. Per can. I'm looking. Hello. I know you. I know you. Simply Sapphire. Please remind me to keep a check on my battery. I'm trying not to move the cord at all. Thanks. I'll leave the chat on today, like for me to see. Where's the 12 grams of sugar? I guess that's not bad. I mean, what is actually in this? Water, tomato paste, juice concentrate of carrots, celery, beets, parsley, lettuce, watercress. Ooh, you know what that makes me want? One of those little church lady sandwiches. You know the church ladies in any church on earth, I assume, they always make the little sandwiches. I don't have any Perrier today. I still have my bottle though, with just my own filtered water. I would like a little watercress sandwich, church sandwich, spinach, salt, and seasoning. What seasoning? They don't tell you what seasoning. Oh, and 100% of the sugars in this are from the vegetables. So that's telling me they're not putting like chemicals in it. So that's good, right? I know it's always no sugar added, no preservatives, no artificial colors or flavors, source of fiber. Those are all good. So I guess it's okay. I'm not a salt fan. Like I rarely put salt in things. Many times I find things too salty. I don't use salt, like hardly ever. But I tried the low sodium V8 one time and it was gross. Like I don't find it this salty, but the one that says less sodium or something, oh, that's bad stuff. Very bad. I wanted to put my wig on, but it's too hot. 100%. So let's wait a little while and see who shows up. I've got the book. Can you see this? This spot on my hand that is darker. That's where they put my IV in for, that's where they put the chemo in me because my veins are always stupid and they couldn't get it in. Like they're always hiding, my veins are. So she had to do it on my hand. That was like the most painful part of the whole process. The entire treatment was like putting that needle in me. But I guess it's still a little bit bruised. People outside. It's like this place is turning into a tenement. There's always people out like sprawled on the lawn and having little heated relationship discussions. I'm like, what is happening here? I don't like it. I'm feeling good, just hot and tired. I went out once today. I didn't have an appointment at the CLSC, which is our clinic, like where you go to, I go to get my dressing changed for my biliary tube because it's leaking and I have to change the dressing at least once a day. But I do it myself because, well, I don't know. I don't enjoy doing it myself, but I know how to do it because when I go there, I'm never sure what nurse I'm going to have. And sometimes they don't know how to do it properly, even though they're nurses. I've had like over 2 years experience with this thing now. 1 year, over over 1 year this time, and then back in 2015 I had it for over a year. So I'm very familiar with how to do my own nursing for this. Anyway, it's the weekend and I didn't have an appointment, so I had to like wait there for quite a while. And then finally, when the nurse was finished with her 3 patients or whatever who were there before me, I gave her my list and she gave me another bag of stuff. I could start my own, like, not DIY, but, roadside nurse station. But I wouldn't, because that's illegal. One, it's illegal, and I don't know, I'm kind of picky. I would pick and choose who I want to nurse. You're like, oh, there's a cute guy with a broken arm, I'll nurse him. But that would never happen, no cute guys would ever come to be nursed by me. Murphy's Law or something. Oh, and then I had some time to wait for do you have book number 17? I'm gonna go check. I had to wait for the bus. I had time to go into the store across from the clinic and pick up a few things. Just some almonds, which I ate some of at the bus stop, and some chocolate cookies from Turkey. It was like, what are the cheapest cookies here? So I got those ones, and they're in the fridge now because they're gonna melt. And 3 bananas, which aren't ripe. 3 small bananas waiting for me to consume them when they are ready. And then I had to wait for my phone to charge and the lawnmower guy to stop. What is number 17? I'm going to go look. All my books are in order, so I can figure it out. 17 is... Oh, okay. Well, 17 is The Mystery of the Brass-Bound Trunk, and I have read that. I've read the original and the revised text. So if you look, well, sometimes I think my playlists are like, there's so many. It would be easier just to search Nancy Drew Mystery of the Brass-Bound Trunk to find the playlist than to go through all my playlists, like to scroll through them. Yep, I did that one. All right, let's get started. Actually, I just want to drink some more, okay? I was feeling a little crooked. I don't know. I mean, I don't watch current TV, so I don't know about commercials for V8, but they used to have this guy who walked crooked because he hadn't drank his V8. Oh, right. I had no idea what was going on in chapter 19. Like, all these things came up that I didn't remember from earlier in the book. Like, who's Celia Smith? If anyone can tell me who Celia Smith is, because she showed up at the end and shoved Nancy down. And then when the 3 hooligans or villains were arguing loudly, they said something about a postcard. Wait, where was that? Oh man, Clara the nagging wife. It was something about a postcard. You're a nagging wife, Clara. I don't remember. Chief Burke. Mrs. Wilson's gone to the hospital. It's gonna be okay. Okay. That's enough of me doing that. I couldn't find the part I was thinking about, but Nancy got another box, right? With a note in it. A note written like newspaper or magazine letters. You know, one of those creepy psycho letters. And they were trying to do a trap by the rhododendron bush. Yes, what I remember most from chapter 19, because rhododendron was said like 10 times. Rhododendron bush, rhododendron bush, rhododendron bush. So a car stopped a short distance from the watched excitedly as the woman driver alighted. She walked forward quickly. No one else was in the car. As she reached the rhododendron bush, the stranger dropped to her knees and started feeling around underneath it. Nancy got ready to spring forward. The moment she picked up the box and rose to a standing position, Nancy jumped forward and beamed her flashlight straight into her face. The next instant, the young sleuth stepped back in amazement and cried out, "Celia Smith!" At once, the woman knocked the flashlight from Nancy's hand, gave the girl a shove that pushed her to the ground, then ran toward her car. Who is Celia Smith? Somebody must remember. Wait a minute. I've gone back to, oh no, it's before this. Remember the first shipwreck little thing? It was during the picnic. The reckless pilot, that must be it. Remember? You know when you're trying to find something, you just can't. My car's gone. Ooh, here's the part where Nancy's car got stolen. I forgot about that part. Okay, they're at the picnic. The boat spun. Okay, I think I'm finding Celia Smith. If it is who, oh, the people they met when they were shipwrecked was Amy Cadmus and Art Munson. Art's a medical student. Are you torturing me? Are you people torturing me by not telling me who Celia Smith is? I need to know who Celia Smith is, because I do not remember this. Okay. I'm just going to start, okay? Chapter 20. Wolf's Eye Surprise. The woman. There's a dog bark. She's always saying, "No, don't do that." I'm just going to start over. Okay. Chapter 20, Wolf's Eye Surprise. Instantly, Bess and George darted from their hiding places and grabbed the woman. She was surprised and fought them violently, but they pinned her arms back and held her tightly until Nancy could stand up, grab her flashlight, and come forward. This time, she turned the light on herself. "Nancy Drew!" the woman cried out. Bess and George were astounded. "Do you know each other?" George asked. Okay, sorry. I apologize to you all. Celia was not in the book earlier. This time we're meeting Celia. Sorry for accusing you. "Do you know her?" George asked. "Yes," Nancy said quietly. "Celia was a day maid for my Aunt Eloise Drew in New York for years. In fact, until she married." "Oh, Nancy, I'm so sorry I hit you," Celia Smith wailed. I had no idea it was you speaking. When I sent you that. Okay, I didn't lose any battery. It started disconnecting for a minute. My husband is getting more and more desperate. He'll stop at nothing. Who is your husband? Nancy asked. Rudy Raspin. So that's why he looked vaguely familiar to me, the young sleuth said. You once showed me a photograph of your fiancé, but you never told me his name. The girls knew that Celia had been very unhappy since her marriage 5 years before. Rudy's cruel and ruthless, but I was afraid to leave him. I learned what he and his friends are up to. He always said if I got him in trouble, he'd kill me. You poor woman, Nancy said sympathetically. What is this racket? It's my neighbor's. I'm just kidding. There are 2 meanings of racket. Wait a minute, there's 3. Tennis racket. If anyone knows a 4th definition of racket, please share. I'm going to eat an almond. Bear with me, okay? I don't know. I would be annoyed if I was watching someone read and then they stopped to look out the window or eat an almond. But I need strength to read. Turning pages is hard. These almonds have nothing on them. They're just almonds, and it actually takes some work to eat one almond. Empty. See this? Wig shine, oil-free wig shine. I got this when I got my blonde wig. When it's getting tangled and stuff, you just spray it with this. And then you just like brush through it or whatever. It smells like candy. I don't know what kind of candy, but some kind of sugary thing. Wig oil. And it is nice that it's not oily because, I mean, nobody wants oily hair. Okay. What is this racket? Celia replied that there were several couples in the group. One couple would talk a wealthy, usually elderly woman who had no relatives to look after her into employing them as servants. They always insisted that any other servants leave before their arrival. In this way, the new employees never could be identified. The main idea was to rob the woman of as much as possible, and in some cases, starve them to death, said George. Celia Smith looked at the girl in alarm. Is that true? She asked. I'm sure my husband never resorted to that. But, she said, the gang told me very little. They didn't trust me. Most of what I know, I overheard. The gang threatened me a great deal. They were afraid, I guess, that I might go to the police. How long has this racket been going on? Since I moved in? No. July 1st is moving day, and so like there are still people moving about. There was a U-Haul 2 doors down this morning, and they were like, all the guys who were moving stuff out of it, they all had masks on in this heat, and I'm like, and they were shouting real loud at each other, and I was like, you guys suck. Okay. How long has this racket been going on? Nancy asked. Oh, a long time. Was the first victim Mrs. Horton? Nancy inquired. Celia Smith nodded. That happened long before I married Rudy, but I found out about it. The Oman's servants. They learned that Miss Horton's little granddaughter was being brought there by her other grandparents who were going to Africa. During the missionaries' short stay, the Omans were absent. They claimed that they were attending their daughter's wedding in New York. Clara Oman found out that Mrs. Horton was Joni's only living relative outside of her maternal grandparents. So they planned that whole horrible kidnapping. It was carried out at the time of Mrs. Horton's death. They gave the poor little girl a sedative to put her to sleep, then took her to the Adoption Society office and left her. Oh my God, that's horrible. God, why is she still married to this Rudy guy is what I want to know. Oh yeah, he said he would kill her or something. Well, that's a reason, but where is Joni Horton now? Bess asked. I don't know, and I'm sure my husband and the other members of the gang don't either. I did find this out, though. They kept track of what happened to Mr. and Mrs. Bowen. When they returned from Africa and came here, Ben shadowed them. When they asked your father to take the case, Rudy was determined that Mr. Drew was not going to learn the truth. Next, he found out from eavesdropping at your River Heights home that you girls were coming here to do some sleuthing. You have been in danger ever since. Oh, exclaimed Bess. I never change Bess's O. That's the only O I can do for Bess. Bess, that's one of Bess's things she says all the time. Oh, it's like oh, hypers. Oh, hypers. I took my husband's moonstone, Celia went on. He had brought it from, I don't know how to say this place. I think it's a T too, or a T comes from here. Ceylon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Somebody tell me, please. So we can continue the book. If I was recording this, I would have to look up the pronunciation. Usually I try it how I think it sounds, and then I look it up. Anyone know how to say Ceylon? It's a place in Africa, isn't it? Or near there? Well, I'll just say, Celia went on. He had brought it from Ceylon years ago and prizes it highly. I sent the stone to you, Nancy, with the note. You are so smart. I thought you would find out sooner or later the significance of Moonstone and Moonstone Valley. Nancy said that it had taken her a long time to put the clues together, and there were many questions still unanswered. One of this, where does the castle fit into the puzzle? All I know is that they used it as a meeting place. Suddenly, Celia bit her lip and said with determination, I'm never going back to Rudy Raspin. I don't care what happens to me. He is a wicked person, and I'm glad he has been found out. I'm sorry, Nancy, that I ever got mixed up in this racket. I should have gone to the police long ago. Ceylon, Sri Lanka. I have to read a whole book within 2 or 3 days, or I completely forget what happened in the earlier parts. I know. I mean, that happens to me too. And then I'm like, eventually the whole book is like gone, usually from your head. Maybe you just remember the title or something. And then I think, what was the point of reading it? But because I'm trying to like stay in the present, not think so much about the past or the future. Well, in the present, you enjoyed the book, brought you pleasure. So doesn't really matter if you forget it. Okay, I'm done with my tangent. Thank you. I forgot what you said. Ceylon? Ceylon? Say long. Really? Even though there's no G at the end? Cool. Say long. She's gone to the police long ago. Suppose you tell me, said Nancy, where they can find your husband. I'm hot. I can feel the wind blowing outside, but it won't come in. Celia answered without hesitation. We work for a senile, well-to-do old man, Mr. Horace Boise, in the next town, Pleasantville. Nancy invited Celia to come to the girl room in the motel and talk further. I'll go to your car with you and we'll drive it up to the motel's parking lot, she said. To George, she murmured. Call the police and tell them where they can find Raspin. 10 minutes later, Celia and the three girls met in the bedroom. Although Mrs. Can you hear me while I'm fanning myself? 10 minutes later, Celia and the three girls met in the bedroom. 10 minutes later, Celia and the three girls met in the bedroom. It might make the audio go all weirdo. Although Mrs. Raspin was teary-eyed, I would be like, I'm not calling her Mrs. Raspin. Forget that guy. She's Mrs. Smith, or she's Miss Smith. Although Mrs. Raspin was teary-eyed, she looked relieved that at last she had followed her conscience. In answer to questions from Nancy, she revealed that it was her husband who had been chased from the Drew home by Detective Donnelly. He had hoped to break into the house and look for any papers on the Horton matter that might incriminate him. Raspin also phoned Mr. and Mrs. Bowen in an attempt to keep Nancy from going to Deep River. O-Man had posed as Mr. Seaman and given a phony address to keep people from knowing where he worked. He had convinced Mrs. Horton that her money and her securities in a home safe. Mrs. O-Man, that's nagging wife Clara, had forged 2 notes in Grandmother Horton's handwriting. One gave a New York City address as that of her granddaughter. The other requested the private funeral. The note to Mr. Wheeler was genuine, but the papers used by the fake Joan were forged by her mother. God, I get so confused with this. I feel like when did I read these? I mean, I know I was reading these when I was nine, so probably before that. I think I understood them and like could follow them a lot better when I was that age than now. I'm like, I can't remember anything. I'm so confused by all this stuff at the end. You know, when we find everything out, it's very confusing. Does anyone agree with me? Suggs had signaled messages to the O-Mans about visitors to the castle, and when the police had made their inspection trips. He had also flooded the moat to keep visitors from the castle, but had not seen Nancy and George anchor the drawbridge and thought it was out of order. Have you any idea who took my car from the motel parking lot? Nancy asked. Yes, Clara O-Man did that too. She and my husbands were the ones who kidnapped Mr. Wheeler. And it was Rudy who sent a note to Mrs. Hempstead telling her you were using an assumed name. That was meant to scare you out of town. He tried to run down you and your friends in a boat, too. Rudy Rasputin is more like it. Because he was a bad guy, right? The guy from the disco song. Rah, rah, Rasputin. Rah, rah, Rasputin. Well, I say Rasputin, but they go rah, rah, Rasputin. Sorry. That was meant to scare you out of town. He tried to run down you and your friends in a boat, too. About an hour later, word came that the police of Pleasantville had taken Rudy Raspin into custody. He would be brought to Deep River the next day. Celia, nearly overcome by the whole affair, was put to bed at the motel. Nancy stayed with her, partly to care for the distraught woman and partly to be sure she did not run away. Nancy knew the police would want to question her. In the morning, 2 officers appeared and took Celia Raspin with them. Sorry, there's peeps outside. I just want to look. How come guys who take their shirts off are like never guys you want to see with their shirts off? Am I right? Battery check. 98%. Uh-oh. Okay. My screen got sticky. Like it wouldn't, I thought it was freezing up. It wouldn't move. So this is the last chapter. Usually has like so much information in it. I wonder if Nancy, well, is she going to get a reward? We still got quite a ways to go here, so. I don't know. Okay, so sometimes I swear, but not often. And it drives me crazy when people use it like for every other word. God. Especially so like indiscriminately, is that the word? In public when there are little kids around and stuff. It's God. Have some class, will you? It grinds my gears. The time and a place for everything. So I'm just trying to ignore them. I have a lot of trouble like focusing on one thing when there's like other noises around. Also, if I say like too much, please knock me out. Thank you. That's one of my pet peeves. People who say like all the time. She had barely left when Nancy's father arrived with Mr. and Mrs. Bowen. They were overjoyed to hear the good news. "We are glad our granddaughter is happy," said Mrs. Bowen. "And if the Armstrongs agree, we'd like to talk with her." Mr. Bowen spoke up. "My wife and I have decided to go back to Africa as missionaries. We want so much to help underprivileged people. The Bowens have asked me," said Mr. Drew, "what I advise. I strongly believe that Joni should know the whole story and that we should retrieve her stolen inheritance." Yes, wasn't George the one who was like, "She doesn't need to know anything"? Wow. Bess, George, that's not for you to decide, okay? She has every right to know who her real parents are, or grandparents, or whatever. I don't remember. The lawyer went on to say that through the postcard clue, he had located O Man's daughter, Claire, in California. She admitted using phony and forged papers to impersonate Joni. Claire claims she has none of the inheritance left, but she didn't sound very sincere. I asked her a few leading questions, and I'm inclined to think her parents have retained the bulk of the money. Bess groaned. But if they have it hidden away, they'll never tell where it is. Suddenly, Nancy's eyes sparkled. I have a hunch as to hide something. Girls, it's perfect out there now. Let's go and make a real search. Oh my goodness. She asked her father if he wished to go along. Mr. Drew smiled but shook his head. "I must see the Armstrongs," he said. "You girls make your search and I'll let you know later today what the rest of our plans will be." more. There's one here. Go away, fly. Excitedly, the three girls set off in the convertible. On the way to the castle, they discussed what would be the most likely hiding place for thieves to use. I mean, did they look over the whole castle? It's pretty big, right? I mean, it looks like medieval times. I gotta get colder water. It's like the never-ending chapter. No, I'm seeing the end. And what's the next one? The Clue of the Whistling Bagpipes. That one's got to have some sheep in it. And hopefully some good Scottish food. Damn. Okay. I'm going to get the colder water. All right. This is water. Ooh, chocolate cookie. Oh, come on. Hey. Not now. Not now, stupid. My fridge door won't say that. What's blocking it? Please don't. Please don't. Oh my God, no. I'll be back, I swear. My fridge door won't stay shut for some reason. That's like the last thing I need. I will kill you. I will kill you, fridge door. You're not open. Okay, I'm here. Fridge door didn't want to shut. Things were easier when there was no electricity, right? Let's go back in time. You didn't have a fridge door, so it wouldn't get stuck. You just had less stuff. You know how you can learn anything on YouTube? I learned how to tie my shoelaces in straight bars, not crisscross. You can learn anything on YouTube. I wonder if I could learn how to take a nap. I can't fall asleep to take a nap. I wonder if there are videos on how to take a nap for people who can't nap. All right, back to the old story. Maybe if I put my water over here, it'll stay nice. It's farther away from the window. Uh-oh. It doesn't say charging. What? Come on, I didn't do anything. Come on. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. Didn't have electricity, I would be able to read to you. Well, maybe I would read to other people in person. Okay, my button won't say charging, so let's just read this as fast as we can, shall we? For some reason I can't get it to say charging. Please charge. Honestly, I don't, there you go. I don't know how people can like tolerate things. Lost me place. Oh yeah. On the way to the castle, they discussed what would be the most likely hiding place for thieves to use. I'm sure it's the cellar, said Nancy. You remember the only time we were warned away was from the castle. warned away from the castle was when George and I swam over and started for the cellar. This time, the girls were armed with 3 flashlights. I hope they're heavy. And the weird, dank passageway of the castle did not seem so forbidding. Their hunt revealed nothing until they came to what looked like a dungeon with a barred door. It was not locked, and they went inside the cell-like room. Although they beamed their lights all around the walls, nothing suspicious was revealed. I think if there's anything in here, it will be under this earthen floor, said Nancy. It would be easy to dig up. Bess is going to need a big meal after this. She sprawled full length on the ground. What in the world are you doing? Bess asked. Looking for a hump in the earth, even a slight one. Suddenly, Nancy stood up and dashed toward the corner of the dungeon. Here's one, she said. Now, what can we dig with? George remembered that she had seen a shovel in the old kitchen and hurried off to get it. She came back with the long-handled shovel and at once began to dig. In a short time, she uncovered a large brass box. Their pulses quickening, the girls lifted it out. You open it, Nancy, said George. What do you think's in it? I already know what's in it. I just read ahead. You want me to tell you? It's nothing too fun. Nancy lifted the lid and the 3 girls gasped in astonishment. The chest was filled with negotiable securities and money. Besides these, the girls found a list of people who had been swindled and also the names of 2 other couples in the gang. We'd better bury this again, Bess said, and let the police come for it. Before Nancy could answer, George protested. No, sir. After all the trouble we've had, I'm not going to let one of those crooks come here and take this fortune away. I think you're right, said Nancy. Since the chest was very heavy, all 3 girls helped to carry it to the car. Nancy drove Deep River Police Headquarters. Chief Burke was amazed to receive cash C-A-C-H-E and said he would put it in his office safe at once. Then we'll round up those 4 other people in the gang whose names are on the list, he told the girls. I have an idea that now the entire gang is accounted for. Thanks for doing our work for us. I just added that part on. Nancy smiled and thanked the chief for all his help. Jody Armstrong's reunion with her grandparents. When Nancy and her friends reached the motel, they found Mr. and Mrs. Armstrong and the boat there. All looked very pleased. Nancy's father, smiling, said, The Armstrongs want Jody to meet Mr. and Mrs. Bowen tomorrow. They have invited the rest of us to come to their home after they've all spent an hour together. And that's the end of that day. The following day, when the Drews, Bess, and George arrived at the Armstrong home, they found an excited and happy group. Jody rushed up to the girls and hugged them. Oh, I have so many wonderful things to thank you for, she said. And don't you think I'm about the luckiest girl in the whole world to have such wonderful adoptive parents and to have found these marvelous grandparents? They've told me a number of things about my mother and father, who passed away when I was very young. How they loved me and how happy they would be to know I have such fine adoptive parents. You certainly are fortunate, said Nancy, smiling. We're all so happy for you. I just keep getting hotter and hotter. Mr. Drew announced that about half of Grandma Horton's stolen securities had been found intact in the brass box at police headquarters, and that in due course Jody would receive it. The lawyer explained. What started the Omans on their kidnapping idea and having their own daughter pose as the Horton beneficiary was the fact that Ben Oman had seen a copy of the will. The age of the granddaughter was not mentioned, nor any guardian. It was then that he began formulating the fraud. He kept little Joni out of sight. Poor Grandma Horton was underfed and kept under sedation until her death. It's awful. How perfectly dreadful, Bess said softly. Before a physician was called to administer to her, Mr. Drew went on, Mrs. Oman took little Joni to the adoption society and left her so no one coming to the house ever saw her. How can people be so wicked? George burst out. Jody said that of course it would be very nice to receive the money, but I'm going to give a lot of it to my grandparents to use in their work, she said. Part of what I have left will be for... I'm getting like... I'm almost finished. It's almost finished. Ugh. Imagine me trying to read an adult book to you people. I wouldn't be able to do it. Part of what I have left will be for beautiful presents for Nancy Drew, Bess Marvin, and George Fane, she declared. They deserve the best rewards in the whole world. Nancy laughed. That is sweet of you, Jody, but the only reward I want is to know what those strange code words, wolf's eye, mean. Jody went to the bookcase and began looking in dictionaries and encyclopedias and other reference books. Nancy, meanwhile, could not help but wonder when she might encounter a strange mystery as the recent one. Such a case was to confront her soon, the clue of the whistling bagpipes. Jody had been consulting one of the reference volumes, which contained interesting information about all sorts of unusual subjects. Excitedly, she cried out, I found it! Jody giggled. Nancy, believe it or not, is a nickname for Moonstone. The end. Okay, can I just say the end was like stupid? That was like a weird end to me, and it was not satisfying. The end was weird. Somebody agree with me. I couldn't even say the end because it was just too weird. I enjoyed the book, but I don't know, near the end it was like, oh, Lordy. Too much. It's too much. It's too much for my brain. Maybe I need to like go down in my age, in my book age group here. I have a Wuzzles book. You want to read a Wuzzles book? Oh, goody. I'm glad you don't like it either. I mean, obviously, there's a formula, and they are all kind of same at the end. But just the last few sentences were, like, weird to me. Not going to give it a rating or anything, but... overall, it was good. Honestly, I could have used more Ned at the end. I used to, like, not be able to stand Ned. And now I like him a lot. I feel bad for Ned. Nancy takes advantage of him, I think. He left. I mean, yeah. He needs to smarten up a bit, I guess. Okay, well, we put that baby to bed. I can put this back. What number is it? 40. And less than an hour, as I'm charging 94%. And we can choose another book to read. I'm going to put this back. Number 14. Oh boy. Oh, yeah. Remember I was saying I would like one in a cold setting? You know, one that doesn't take place in summer with like swimming and barbecues and stuff. Fall or winter, maybe? Do you know any that take place in fall and winter? I'm waiting. The Mystery of the Ski Jump is in the winter. Yes, it sure is. Do you know what number it is? I'll try to find it quickly. And it's in Canada, right? I lost it. And the ski jump. Oh, wait, it's right here. Number 29. Come here, you. Number 29. Snowman. Yes. Oh, I love it. I want to be there. Except without this guy here. I could do without the hand behind the tree. The original is 1952, and this is the revised text from 1968. So this one was written in 1968. I saw a light flicker. I don't have any lights on in here, so it's fine. Ooh, yeah. Don't touch that. I'm looking at a picture. Don't touch that, Ned warned. It's a trap. Look at Ned. Yeah, let's do it. I'll read the synopsis, okay? Easy. Fuller, easy on the almonds. Okay. When Nancy learns that the Drews' housekeeper has been duped, Hannah, come on, Hannah, by an elegantly dressed woman into buying a stolen fur piece, the young detective starts a search for the clever swindler. To Nancy's astonishment, I'm so bad. I'm like, I can't finish my sentence because I'm looking ahead. Like, where does she go in Canada? I don't remember. Patience. To Nancy's astonishment, she discovers that the woman is using the name Nancy Drew. The dishonest acts of the imposter point the finger of suspicion at Nancy herself and result in her being questioned by the police. Chief McGinnis? I have read this. I don't remember it, though. Nancy's determination to capture the elusive, dangerous Mitzi Channing takes her to northern New York State and Canada. At a gala winter event, Nancy is shocked to hear her name announced. Figure skating champion about to perform. My app crashed. Okay, where was I? I suddenly looked up and the screen was frozen and it said reconnecting. And then it said my app crashed. Did you hear the whole synopsis? I looked up and everything was frozen. Do I have to read the whole thing again? Anyway, okay. I remember reading this because when they were talking about the figure skating and stuff, I remember that. We're going to read it, okay? I'm not going to start now because I'm too hot. You want to read the chapter list? Tell me if you want to read the chapter list. Well, I'll just read chapter, the first chapter is called The Strange Woman. This is one I would love to read the original of. Where in Canada did they go? Is it in the east? No, I think they go to Alberta or something, don't they? Chief McGinnis. Chief McGinnis. All right, we're going to read this. We'll start next time, okay? It's 3:07. Well, here it is. I hate this nail polish. Is there anything else I can do? Oh, he's here. I like almonds. I like almonds too, you know. You pig. He's so cute. Look at his little beady eyes. You know what I want for Christmas? More Perry Como records. I shouldn't be playing any records actually because I have a cheap piece of crap record player. It is actually damaging to records, so. But I don't have any really expensive records that should be taken care of, like rare ones or anything like that. But I don't have room for like, actually I don't want a turntable and speakers. I prefer to have something like I have, which is just like a little suitcase guy, you know? But do they make any little suitcase, little compact record players that are actually high quality and don't ruin your records? I don't want some huge setup. I like small, compact things. So if anyone knows, let me know. What just happened? Oh, it moved over to 1 hour and everything shifted. And I noticed, I was like, something happened. I guess that's it then. We've read 2 books so far alive. Right, Perino says, he was like, what is a book about a mouse? Oh, Stuart Little. I haven't read the book, but I listened to an audiobook of it one time. Oh, gosh. Julie Harris, is that her name? The actress who was in Giant and other things, but that's what I know her from most. She narrated Stuart Little, and it was so sweet. I haven't seen the movie. I don't like CGI. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, I hate that saying. What's the saying? I have a few. One is, it is what it is. Another is, sorry, not sorry. Oh, that's sweet. Was it a whole series of books? Or just one? Because I know I only listened to the first book, if there's more than one. We just had one. Series are great, but sometimes, you know, it's nice to just have one book. Less commitment. I like reading short stories. Like it can be a big book, but if it's just like a big anthology of short stories, and I will go through the titles and be like, oh, this one sounds fun, just from the title, and read it. You don't necessarily have to read the whole book, but you're still getting something out of it, you know? I have a lot of big, heavy books. I'm looking at one right now. Yes, I still haven't read every Anne book. And I've listened to a lot of the Little House books and not read them. And when I was little, I used to watch the show. Must have been in reruns, I guess. Well, it was on for a long time. But maybe I watched the ones that Shannon Doherty was in. Because she was on that when she was a kid. And I think that was in the early 80s. So maybe it went into the 80s, right? Maybe I watched that. No. I've been watching TV a long time. Actually, I don't watch it anymore. Well, I watch old stuff on YouTube and I download old shows, but I don't really watch anything new. It's all crap. I'm sure there's some good shows. '70s and '80s. I try not to complain a lot, but I am a grumpy old man. Here's a book. Well, yeah, it's a book. My almonds popped open. Here's a book. Oh my gosh, 2 hands. I need 2 hands for this book. This is a yearbook. That's a big yearbook. From 1926. A lot of the pages are stuck together, unfortunately. And I don't like this one stuck together. But it has lots of stuff stuffed into it, like an old leaf. Which is like, I don't know, could be from the 1920s as far as I know. Like look at this. See, I found this leaf in it. In the, which page is it? The senior hockey team, 1926. Oh, look, here they are. Here's the senior hockey team at McGill, 1926. Oof, it's heavy. Newspaper clippings. Oh, this was Glenna's. You know Glenna, I've talked about Glenna. She's got newspaper clippings and, ooh, this is creepy. This is a little scary, isn't it? I don't know what's on it, like autographs or something. Oh, wait. Wait, no, it opens up. Oh, see? Oh, it's a dance card. Is this a dance card? Look, there's a little photograph in it. Right, it opens up. It says, the Alma Mater Dance, March 6th, 1925. That's a dance card, right? I always think of Anne of Green Gables with that because Gilbert stole Anne's dance card and Diana was like, that's so romantic. Or maybe it was one of her other friends. Oh, It says what kind of dances are going to be played. Waltzes, foxtrots. And then I think here is where you write the dude you're going to dance with, right? Is that right? Menu: chicken salad, finger rolls, French pastry, petite fours. I just spit out almonds, sorry. Wafers, peach melba, coffee, salted almonds, mints. Well, that sounds good. And it has the student council and all this other stuff. And then on the back, I don't know, it has like names written on it and stuff. That's a dance card. How cool. See, I've never looked through every page of this, of this book. But I have to do that someday. Tennis club. And it's got like some, there was one thing I found in here that was very interesting. It was like rules of the house or something. Rules of the girls' dorm or something. Really. Well, let's just look at some dudes, shall we? Wait, there's one lady here. 1, 2, 3 ladies here. On the board of editors. There are some old people. Isn't that? It's so, I don't know. Well, I never had a college yearbook because I dropped out of college, thank God. But our high school yearbooks were really tiny, you know. But these are so fancy. I wonder how much you had to pay for a yearbook. A postcard. All right, we'll look at a newspaper clipping and then I'm leaving. I mean, I'm going to, oh, I found the rules. Well, maybe we'll look at the rules too because they're interesting. When is this from? It's the Christian Science Monitor, Boston, Friday. Oh, it's cut off. Oh, there's a movie ad. What? Well, we can figure out what year it is by looking at this movie ad. Oh, I want to time travel. Oh, wait, it's April 10, 1953. That's when this newspaper is from. Oh, look, here's some guys playing golf. Chick Harbert sees hopes of winning major tourney. Augusta, Georgia. Sneed. I know who that is. Sam Sneed? Is that a golfer? Sneed. Ben Hogan. I know all these names. Why do I know all these names? Anyway, that was interesting. So much to look at. I believe. Oh, look. Royal Victoria College, McGill University. Household order. This is rules. This is a rule book. Well, let's just look at a few of them, okay? Breakfast is served 8 to 80. I'm not a mathematician. Breakfast is served 8 to 8:45 on weekdays, 9 to 9:45 on Sundays. Milk and biscuits. That's boring stuff. There was some interesting stuff in here, I remember. Oh, I guess it's not that bad. I thought it was more humorous to me last time I read it. Students are expected to obey all fire regulations. Lights should be turned out by students on leaving their rooms. Walls of study bedrooms must not be defaced by nails, etc. Water from the tap should not be used for drinking purposes. Filters are provided in all dressing rooms and bathrooms. Filters? They had filters then? Students who have not left their rooms by 9:45 on Sundays are expected to make their own beds and to admit the maid to attend to their rooms. Students are expected to send their laundry to the firm selected by the college. The use of the telephone is permitted for a brief communication during stated hours. In the absence of the warden, that sounds like a prison, students should refer to another member of the resident staff. In the absence of the housekeeper, students are asked to leave word in the secretary's office in any urgent household matter. I thought it was more kind of funny. A maid calls at each room at the breakfast, lunch, and dinner hour and reports any case of illness. Invalid trays are provided when necessary. Okay, that was like the least interesting thing in there. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I would like to look at every page of this in depthly. Rugby. Okay, here's a convocation week. Here's some music. Omicron, I don't know, it's Latin. It's Latin. Some old music. Ooh, Secret in the Attic music. Nah, it's just Latin. Omicron something. Music club. Ooh, look at this lady drinking tea. All right, I'm hot and this book is heavy. This is a book to go through. I'm trying not to knock everything over, but this is also an interesting book that came from Galena. And it's, I think, or was it Great Uncle Frank? No, I think this was Glenna's. It's Legends of the St. Lawrence. And this has pictures, I tell you. See, look, there's the St. Lawrence River. And there's some legend of the St. Lawrence. This is 1926. Oh, this is from the train. 1926 Canadian Pacific Railway, price $1. So I think you could like buy this on the train. That is a very cool book. Legends of the St. Lawrence. Ooh, the ghost ship of La Roche de Perse. This is a cool picture. It smells old in a good way, you know? It's a good old smell. And I'm going to leave you because I got to eat something. So we got a lot done, didn't we? We ate some almonds. We talked with Perino. We finished a book. We selected a new book. We looked at some old yearbooks. I cracked my finger. And the battery didn't die. I got disconnected a few times, but I came back. Thank you for, I don't know, I feel weird when I say goodbye. I still feel awkward sometimes. I guess that's human life or something. I mean, that's part of being human, feeling awkward. I wonder if there's one person on Earth who has never felt awkward in their life. What a weirdo. All right. Aloha.